Good morning students, welcome back to my class. In the previous classes we have studied about solar system. We also studied about structure of the sun and the structure of the earth. Today we are going to study about moon, the different shapes of the moon, and also we will learn about eclipses, basically solar eclipse and lunar eclipse. We will learn about the conditions which give rise to the eclipses. So let's begin our class today. The moon is a natural satellite of the earth. It is held in place by the earth's gravity. It revolves around the earth. It is our nearest neighbor in space. It is 384,000 km away from the earth. It is a ball of rocks about 1/4 the size of the earth. The moon shines in the night sky. Though it does not give its own light, it reflects the light of the sun. The moon also revolves around the earth. It takes 27 days, 8 hours or 27.3 days to complete one revolution around the earth. Even to the naked eyes, the surface of the moon appears uneven. We can see patches of bright and rough areas as well as dark and smooth areas. The moon is just a rocky desert. Its surface is rough, uneven and is covered with dark grey dust. Moon is made up of mountains and craters. Due to this, the surface of the moon appears to consist of bright and dark patches. Craters are bowl-shaped holes that have been made when lumps of rocks and iron called meteorites hit the Earth's moon's surface. These craters can be seen from the Earth with the help of a telescope. The moon has no air and water. As the moon does not have any atmosphere, it cannot reflect or retain the heat of the sunlight. Hence, it becomes boiling hot during the day, about 100 degrees centigrade, and freezing cold at night, minus 150 degrees centigrade. Due to the absence of air and water, there is no life on the moon. Like the earth, the moon also pulls everything down towards its center with the force of gravity, but moon's gravity is only 1/6 of the earth's gravity. Since air is not present on the moon, no sound can be heard there, so moon is also a silent place. Every night, the moon appears to change its shape. However, the moon does not really change its shape. It is the same round ball as the earth. But due to the revolution of the moon around the earth, its position with respect to the earth changes. So the moon appears to change its shape. The day-to-day changes in the shape of the moon as seen from the earth are called phases of the moon. The phases of the moon are new moon, crescent moon, half moon, gibbous moon and full moon. When the moon is in between the earth and the sun, we cannot see the moon at all. This is called new moon phase. It is dark on the new moon night. As the moon moves further, we can see a small sunlit portion of the moon's surface. This is called crescent moon. When the sunlit portion becomes bigger, we can see half of the moon. It is called half moon. When we see more than half of the moon, it is called the gibbous moon. When moon reaches the furthest side of the earth from the sun, we see complete moon. It is called full moon. The moon's revolution around the earth is also called lunar cycle. In the first half of the cycle, the size of the lighted part of the moon increases from new moon to full moon. This is called waxing phase. In the second half of cycle, the size of lighted part of the moon decreases from full moon to new moon. This is called waning phase. This completes a lunar cycle. It takes 29 days to complete one lunar cycle. A lunar cycle includes a new moon to new moon phase. Students, as we have already learned that the shape of the moon as seen from the earth, it changes every night because the moon revolves around the earth and the lighted part of the moon changes. This changing shape of the moon are called the phases of the moon. This is a practical demonstration showing the different phases of the moon. Now, the moon's revolution around the earth is called lunar cycle. In the first half of the cycle, we will see that the size of the lighted part of the moon increases from new moon to full moon. This is called the waxing phase. In the second part of the cycle, we will see that the size of the lighted part of the moon decreases from new moon to the decreases from full moon to the new moon. This is called the waning phase. This completes one lunar cycle. That is, one lunar cycle means from new moon to another new moon, and it takes 29 days to complete one lunar cycle. Now, slowly, the size of the lighted part of the moon increases from this new moon to the full moon. This is called the waxing phase. Now, slowly, I will turn the moon. You see here, and it comes here. According to the earth, if you see it like it, okay, it comes here, this part, okay, this part. I think you are able to see from here, this part. This is the waxing crescent size. Waxing crescent moon means only a small part of the moon gets lighted up by the sun. Now again, I will turn the moon like this. Here, this part. This is the half moon phase. Half moon, half of the moon gets lighted up by the sun. So, now turn here. See this part. This part is the waxing gibbous phase. Here 3/4 of the moon gets lighted up by the sun. Now comes the full moon. This is the full moon. You see, this is the full moon or the Purnima night. Full moon means when the entire part of the sun or moon gets lighted up, and the people on the earth can see the entire part of the moon. This is the Purnima night. Now in the second half of the cycle, this size of the lighted part of the moon decreases from this full moon to the new moon. Again, from full moon to the new moon, the size of this lighted part decreases, and this phase is called the waning phase. Slowly, I will turn this moon like this. Here, we will get the waning gibbous phase. Then, I will turn the moon here. Here, you will get the half moon phase again. Then, I will turn the moon here. See, this part. This is the waning crescent phase. Then, here again, you got this part. This part, no moon, or the new moon day, new moon night. So I see, so one lunar cycle is completed from one new moon to another new moon. One lunar cycle gets completed, and it takes 29 days to complete one lunar cycle. I hope all of you have understood this properly. Now we will study about eclipses. The earth revolves around the sun in its orbit. Similarly, the moon revolves around the earth in its orbit. Sometimes the sun, the earth and the moon come in a straight line. Either of the earth or the moon cast shadow on the other. This is called eclipse. There are two types of eclipse, solar eclipse and lunar eclipse. A solar eclipse occurs when the moon comes between the sun and the earth. The moon casts shadow on the earth. The solar eclipse can be seen only from that part on the earth where the shadow falls. When the moon hides the sun completely, it is called total solar eclipse. No sunlight reaches the earth and it becomes totally dark even during the daytime. When moon hides the sun partially, it is called partial solar eclipse. It occurs only on the new moon day. We should never look at the sun directly during a solar eclipse because it can damage our eyes. A bright ring of light called corona can be seen around the sun during total solar eclipse. When the earth comes between the sun and the moon in a straight line while revolving around the sun, the earth casts its shadow on the moon. It stops the light of the sun from reaching the moon. Hence, the moon cannot be seen partly or wholly. This is called lunar eclipse. The part of the shadow that totally blocks the sunlight is called the umbra. The part of the shadow that blocks only a part of the sunlight is called the penumbra. When the moon is completely in the dark shadow of the earth, it is called a total lunar eclipse. When the moon is partly hidden by the dark shadow of the earth, it is called partial lunar eclipse. Humans have launched a number of satellites into space. These satellites revolve around the earth. They are called artificial satellites. They are launched by specially designed rockets. An artificial satellite is a human-made object that has been purposely placed into the orbit around the earth or other planets to perform specific functions. The first artificial satellite was known as Sputnik 1, which was launched by the Soviet Union on October 4 in 1957. India has also built and launched several artificial satellites. The first Indian artificial satellite was named Aryabhatta was launched on 19th April 1975. Some of the other Indian satellites are INSET series, IRS that is the Indian Remote Sensing Satellite series, Kalpana 1, EduSat, Bhaskara, etc. Some of the satellites with their uses are as follows. Weather satellites take pictures of the movements of clouds and help to forecast weather. They give us early warnings of dangerous storms, cyclones, forest fires, floods, etc. Astronomical satellites help to observe distant galaxies, planets, and other space objects. Communication satellites help in sending messages from one country to another. Cellular phones, fax, internet, etc. send messages by these satellites. Remote sensing satellites are used to locate mineral resources, underground water, and for land mapping. Military satellites are called spy satellites. These help in detecting the launch of missiles, the direction of the ships at sea, and the movement of military equipment on the ground. Navigation satellites are used for providing geographical locations of the objects on the Earth's surface. Scientific satellites help to carry out the studies of the Earth and its environment. A scientist who studies objects in space such as the stars, moons, planets, comets, etc. is called an astronomer. Some of the prominent Indian astronomers are Aryabhatta, Bhaskara II, Meghnad Shah, Subramaniam Chandrasekhar and Jayant Narlikar. Subramaniam Chandrasekhar received the Nobel Prize in Physics for his work on the life cycle of stars.